Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today, yes, we are spray painting our own pots. So there you saw my dirty pots, and now I cleaned them. I just washed them with some water and a little bit of soap. Now I have to make sure that I have a good grip on them, so I'm going to use this hanger so I can grab the hook and then insert it into the hole, into the drainage hole, and see if I can hold it that way so I have a little bit more range onto where I'm spray painting. I really do not want to get dirty here, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can do this trick here. And of course I have my apron on because I don't want to get this dress dirty, and I'm also covering myself with a little bit of newspaper, as you can see there. Also, I think it's really important to shake your spray paint can before you use it, just to make sure everything, you know, it's nice and mixed together. And so that's what I'm doing here, getting a good arm workout. And also there's a key to shaking the bottle. You have to make sure that it's actually, you know, going vertically, you're not just shaking it like on an angle, because yeah, I think that's probably key to shaking a spray painted can. And this is one of my favorite colors. I'm gonna go ahead and leave all of the colors that I used in the description box below, so make sure to check that out if you like the colors that I'm using here. This color I actually used for my animal pods as well, and I don't know if you've seen that video, but if you haven't, I'll go ahead and leave it in the description so you can take a look at that one and my little animal pods. I love this color so much because it's a mixture between, like, oh no, that just dropped. Oh well, at least it chipped and it didn't break all the way. So I'm gonna just, you know, continue to grab it on from there, but this time I have to make sure that it's a little bit more tight on there. I just want to move it because I guess I'm done with it. So now I'm gonna go with the next one. I know that this hanger method is probably not the best one to use, so I tried this instead. This blue that I'm spray painting with is a little bit darker, and it's like a sky blue type of color. I really like it. I'm actually really into like blue shades right now because I just love the colors that remind me of just looking at the sky, because the sky is wonderful. And yeah, just make sure that it's all coated. I think this method worked a little bit easier, except for whenever I tried to rotate it, I believe this one fell, so it's gonna fall. And yes, this one broke, but it broke perfectly for like a fairy garden type of design, type of arrangement. So I guess I'm spray painting it a little bit more. Also, I think it's important to not spray paint above the ones that you've already spray painted. So for this one, the method didn't work because there's kind of no way to get the pot away from the hanger without, you know, getting your hands dirty. And so actually that one doesn't fall. Okay, so it's the next one that falls. But yeah, this method didn't work that well. This one I'm gonna go ahead and make it the same color as the last one because I have a lot of paint for that one and not as much as the other one, so I decided to just save it for some other little project that comes up my mind. And I think this one is white. Is it? I think it is white. Okay, this was just clear. You don't really need it. I thought it was gonna be like a white spray paint, but no. I'm just gonna use that blue one. Yeah, there you go. And just go ahead and make sure that it's fully coated as much as you want the color to be bold. So if you want it to be really dark, just make sure, you know, you put at least 3 coats or something. But if you want it to be light, or you just want it to look like a little bit patchy, then, you know, you can make your own little design. It really doesn't matter. You don't even have to fully coat it if you didn't want to, but I decided to do it. You see, this method is a little bit easier because it stays in the ground, except for it's honestly actually really nice. For some reason I felt like one of them fell. That's weird. I think one of them did crack. Yeah, I think one of them did crack. Anyways, this one's gonna be the dark shade of blue because I just like it, and it's a really big pot, and I am tired of seeing that orange terracotta color on it, the clay color. I'm tired of seeing that, so I want to spray paint it blue, baby blue, and I'm gonna give it a good coating on there. I don't want to see any of the orange color. So I make sure that I just leave it on the newspaper, and then I myself rotate around it so I can get every single little spot. And it doesn't take that long to do this. I think the hardest part is probably just transferring them to somewhere they can dry off safely. And I could have kept mine here, except for I actually moved them to like a small little rack, my succulent rack collection. I think it was empty at the time, and so I decided to just place them there. But whenever they did dry up, I remember that one of my small pots actually dried off with the wet newspaper on the top of the pot, and so it's probably best if you just let them sit like on concrete and not anything that they can stick to like paper. And so there you go, that's the finished product, guys. This is what it looks like when they are spray painted and they're not dry yet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and collect all of my canned paint inside a bag, because you know this stuff is really dirty, so you do not want it to get anywhere on you. So make sure not to set them on newspaper or anything like that whenever they're drying off, because they will stick to them. Even though it's really easy, you know, to remove the newspaper once they're all dried up, you can just rinse it off and it'll just come off. But you know, it's one less thing to worry about if you do it correctly. So here, make sure there is no spray paint on the newspaper that you are touching. So yeah, make sure to just be careful, because you do not want that spray paint in your hands. If you do get it in your hands though, make sure to use acetone. Acetone removes it very, very easily, and you know, it's something that a lot of people just have in their houses all the time. It's a nail polish remover. So here I am using the newspaper just to balance them out, because I want to move them somewhere safe so they can dry off. And there you go, that's how I am going to leave them overnight, and I'm going to work with them the next day. Here is the next day. No, it's probably like 3 weeks later. Here I have my pots. I'm going to be working with that little small one, and I'm going to put those little variehiggins, those variehiggins succulents inside the pot, because I think it's going to look very nice. These succulents right here, the ones that I'm holding, they haven't been exposed to a lot of sun recently, just because it was raining for about a week. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, and so I kept them under a little shield so they weren't able to get a lot of sun. That's why they look a little bit green and not that purple right now, because variehiggins are really, really purple and nice and pretty. So make sure that if you have, you know, green succulents that are supposed to be another color, like a bright color, make sure that you expose them to more sun, because that's the reason they are losing their color. So here I'm making sure that there is some soil at the bottom, and I'm pressing it down so I can kind of hold the succulents in place, and I am trying to put even more succulents in there. I have some other ones that are not doing so well. I think they were the ones that were kind of broken. Most of the leaves just got torn off because of the raccoons, so I'm going to use those two, and I'm going to try and put them all in there so I can have less pots. And I'm going to get the little pot that they were in, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it away and probably spray paint it, clean it up, spray paint it, or maybe even paint it indoors and get, you know, a little bit more design into the pot. But you know, it's just what I feel like for the day, so that's something that I can just save for another day or another project. So there you go. They don't really want to stand up, you know, so if they don't want to stand up, you can either put more soil or you can put rocks. And also, their soil is really, really dry right now, so they're very thirsty, meaning that I will probably just water them right after. They have, that one doesn't have roots it doesn't look like, but the other ones do. But it shouldn't matter because variegations are pretty hardy succulents. I am poking a hole just to make sure that it goes in and is not having any difficulty. I want the stem at the bottom to have as much soil coating on the area, I mean on the perimeter of the stem, so we can try to prop out those roots, that root system, so it can sustain itself. So here are the other variegations that are kind of broken. I'm just going to go ahead and twist them off that little pot just because their stems are really long, and then just place it right on in. They're all variegations now in that little blue pot, which I really like. Here I'm just making more space for more succulents. I think I have 2 more that I want to put in there, so I'm making sure that there is enough room for them. As you can see, they are not very large succulents. I mean, there's like 3 to 4 leaves, stuck on the little stem. Like, that is not a lot anymore. And so, it's best if you just see it with other variegations that kind of do have their, floral shape, or rosette shape, I mean. There you go. I'm just gonna put it in there, and it adds even more volume to the whole design, which I really like. Just the fact that you're unable to see the dirt as much as possible is probably key. Here is the final product. I put in some white rocks. I think it looks really cute, really awesome. Tell me what you think in the comments below, because it is super dark here now. I'm going to put it nice and safe, and I have 2 more left.